Alright, so we're back again. This is another Balcora Cup game. This one is between Sandra of the Banjo Valley, which is an amazing name, and Tyler of Roma. And it's quite a canonical matchup we've got going here. We've got the Kushan. I think Sandra is the one playing Kushan. No. Tyler's the one playing Kushan. And Sanjo bringing out the Thai dance. So we've got a Homeworld 1 rivalry match here. So hopefully this is quite an exciting game, because both of these players are fairly new to the game, but they're both improving very quickly. I'd almost describe them both as mid-tier players already, which is very exciting to say. Okay, so we're in the game. Here's Sanjo, rocking the purple and black, looking amazing. I love this colour scheme, especially on the Thailand flagship. Look at these stripes, looks really nice. And of course the tactical overlay for Sandra is yellow. And over here we have Tyler, sporting the default colours, not even bothering to set anything. His tactical overlay is going to be red. A little bit of idle time at the start here for Tyler. A lot of idle time. I think he is here. I mean, he's making scouts and things. Okay, now his collectors actually get moving. Sanjo had no such issues. Probably going to kick Ruby if he likes too much. Her collectors went straight to the patch. So as you can see, it's a little bit oversaturated to start with, because you start with 6 and they all come in a bulk. But as it starts getting going in a sort of cycle, this patch can actually hold 6. 6 is a comfortable number on this patch. So Tyler just making these 3 scouts, which is a good idea. It helps you get vision control of the map, and he also, I just noticed that both players have very early research ships. Both of them getting it at about the same time. Tyler probably a couple of seconds earlier. But I really feel like these research ships are a little bit too fast. I don't think either player is really planning to rush the opponent. I'd probably like to see a couple more collectors before that research ship comes out, but honestly I don't think it's going to matter too much. Sanjo with a probe in the middle, that's going to get sniped very quickly by Tyler's formation scouts. Now, units in this game actually do more damage in formations, but it's not very much. It's not like Classic where the bonus is something like 30%. It's a very small bonus, like 5% or something like that. But that is still a bonus. So Sanjo very confidently moving into the middle here. Whereas Tyler not so confident, going to the side expansion. Both players moving their flagship and mothership respectively into a good position. This is immaculate positioning from Sanjo. I mean, look at this, you probably can't get better positioning on the Thailand flagship. And maybe it could be further up, just a couple of inches here on the screen. Aside from that, really well positioned. The same with this carrier, really well positioned. Whereas Tyler, a bit sloppier, I think. Like, this distance is a little bit too far, but it's not bad. And this carrier is the same sort of story. It would be best if it was facing that way at least. Seems like he might have noticed this, and he is moving into a correct position now. So Tyler actually opening with Corvettes, we can see he has the Corvette technology, whereas Sanjo is going fighters, so this is actually a really bad matchup for Sanjo. Homeworld 1 fighters struggle a lot against Homeworld 1 Corvettes. So Sanjo's aggressive posturing might not actually pay off, because she's getting counter-attacked quite hard, and this all stems from, you know, she doesn't have a probe or anything over here, because once that one got cleaned up she didn't replace it. We do see the replacement now, but it's been about a minute and a half since then. Tyler, he does have the Corvette technology, but I'm still seeing collectors being made, so I think Sanjo can breathe easy for now. This is an idle collector. Gotta watch out for this kind of stuff. There is actually a hotkey, period, I think, full stop, that selects all your idle collectors, so... You know, like in StarCraft, you can press F1. There's really no reason to have idle collectors like this. Sanjo with no such issues. Very clean play. I wonder what the purpose of this movement on the flagship is. It looks like she's actually trying to take a third patch. There's a resource controller being left behind here. So pretty confident play from Banjo. Of course this is a tiny map, so trying to get for 3 patches this could be a bit dangerous. Damn, that looks amazing. The purple and black. Looks so good. Any new developments from Tyler? Nope, just sitting back. So here come his corvettes. It looks like he attacked all the way up to heavy corvettes. And it looks like he had a couple docked with his mothership. I say a couple, it's actually a fair amount. I wonder if he's got the same story on his carrier. He does not have that many collectors, so assuming he spent all his money, he probably has quite a few corvettes banked up. Aside from these, it looks like... Oh, he's also getting fighters. I'd prefer him to just stay on corvette technology, because the corvettes will actually beat the interceptors. You don't need interceptors of your own. You're kind of doubling down on the same counter here, like interceptors and light corvettes do the same thing. Banjo now getting quite aggressive. I don't think this is going to pay off. This is not quite enough interceptors to start taking down the beefy Homeworld One collectors. Tyler says no you won't. She won't what? Is there anything in the carrier? I wonder. Banjo not having it. This collector's actually at half health. I think it will dock just before it dies though. I've seen this many a time. And it will definitely get to dock today. Banjo realizing that this is a very bad fight to take. Just gets the hell out of there. Tyler now pushing into middle with a couple of interceptors. These are probably just going to die for nothing. The real story is probably going to be any heavy or light corvettes that fly into here. That was a very weird maneuver from this interceptor. It sort of like flung itself down. It's very interesting. Tyler's still on those technologies, which is good. You don't want to branch out too much. And as we saw, you know, Banjo's trying to get a third patch. I feel like this is a bit ambitious. You could lose your center patch for your trouble. Like these light corvettes are going to have a great matchup against your interceptors. Ooh. I feel like everything has an orange tint on it because we played Sarum Dust Clouds, and I feel like the tints that it puts on things just doesn't go away even when you start a new game. It's very weird. The heavy corvette's laying damage now into Banjo's carrier. Probably not going to be able to pose a threat to it just for now. Carriers have a lot of health. Banjo now with the frigate technology, so we'll see some assault frigates coming out from her, presumably. And that will be a very good unit to be making here because, you know, Tyler, he's still on 2 patches and he's still making corvettes. So if Banjo is able to hold on here and not lose too many collectors, you know, she'll be in a really good spot. She's got heavy corvettes of her own. I feel like instead of this, just rushing up to assault frigates might have been a better choice. There's the chunky heavy corvette for the tie down. Looks kind of cute, huh? What's it shooting at? A rival heavy corvette. One of the Kushan ones. This guy's got to watch himself, he's about to go down. No repair vets or support frigates from either player. Definitely an oversight, you know, a couple of repair corvettes pairs very well with these sort of corvette balls. And it increases survivability a lot, you know. Ooh. And this is why I nearly canned this map from the map pool. As you can see, these fighters are actually just sort of stuck inside an invisible kind of debris thing, and a lot of shots are hitting the wall here. Hopefully Banjo notices this is happening. And now Banjo's fight is getting stuck in there. Might have to axe this one. I might axe it after this series, to be honest. It is a bit strange to be changing the map pool during a tournament, but this is kind of a problem. Regardless though, I think the real story is, well, there's a weird collector going over here, but the real story is that assault frigates should be hitting the field anytime soon. And, you know, Tyler of Rome is still stuck on 2 patches. He's still making corvettes. And Sanjo now is on 3 patch. So she got away with this. Needs to get that collector harvesting. Turns it around and tries to send it to dispatch. At this point, it's close enough to dispatch. It's probably worth just going to here. Tyler's vets probably looking over there and not feeling very confident. Tons of heavy corvettes now from Sanjo. So we haven't seen the assault technology, the frigate technology, sorry, actually being utilized. Sanjo winning that fight very convincingly, and honestly, Tyler of Roma's probably, he's in tons of trouble. You know, he doesn't have any, like, if he had something like a couple of assault frigates with supports, perhaps they could start to turn the tide, but, you know, heavy corvettes, these things don't mess around. I'm not seeing anybody use the burst attack. If they are using that, sorry, I must have missed it. And Sanjo's superior numbers just absolutely overwhelming her opponent here. And we do see assault frigates on the field now. As if, you know, this by itself wasn't enough, we also have assault frigates. Yes, sir. So this is just going to be kind of just an overwhelming victory for Sanjo. I think being able to get away with taking this 3rd patch was amazing. Tyler he must have missed a window of attack there. I feel like he had a lot of corvettes, and Sanjo only had interceptors for a long time. If he'd pushed in at that very early, he could have really done a lot of damage, but waited a bit too long to take advantage of his technology superiority, and eventually got out-teched himself, so... Sanjo now going for the research ship. Probably not the best target at this point of the game, probably the collectors are just more valuable. Oh, there's the burst. And the research ship goes down very quickly. And with that, you know, Tyler's stuck on whatever he's got now. I'm assuming he must have had assault frigate technology at this point. But I think it's just too little too late. You know, all of these collectors are going to get cleared up here. Wow, just a massacre of those collectors. There's a 1 lone assault frigate heading into the middle of this ball of death over here. I mean, Godspeed. Fighting 3 assault frigates from Sanjo. And a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, 4 assault frigates now. I'm gonna kick Roby if he keeps lagging. Nope, he's fine. Okay, so, yeah. Very convincing win from Sanjo. Everything from Tyler just getting cleaned up here. 2nd assault frigate does hit the field, but, you know, this amount of heavy corvettes is probably enough to just massacre any frigates that could hit the field now. Even a missile destroyer would probably struggle to fight off this many heavy corvettes. Corvette's a bit indecisive about where to head. Holy moly. Look at that. Just a ludicrous amount of damage coming out there. And all of these other collectors are now going to get cleared up as well. Tyler is just left with nothing. I wouldn't be surprised to see iron frigates starting to hit the field for Sanjo. There's one. And that was Tyler's last resource collector. So he's got no income, he's got no units, and he calls the GG. Which is sensible, you know. Sanjo not calling GG yet. She will probably wait until her opponent actually forfeits. Looks like these guys are actually targeted at this resource drop-off. Now the iron frigate joins in, as if this carrier wasn't dead in the water already. Well, one thing it can. I think we know what he's talking about. I think we're about to see a scuttle here. I think Sanjo might have realised it. Starts running away. Yep, that's probably what it was. Trying to play it off, huh? But yeah, that's this game's long over. It was over about 10 minutes ago, to be honest. Sanjo afraid to lose any of her strikecraft to the scuttles, which I can empathise with. I hate losing strikecraft to scuttle. Carrier going down now. 2 more volleys will probably seal the deal. And we'll have to see if Tyler's one of these people who tries to hyperspace into a corner of the map and stall the timer. Down it goes. Hey, and there's the forfeit. Big boom, he says. Oof. That does about 70% to an assault frigate. Very crazy. Yes, just Sanjo just overwhelmed him, really. Alright, game 2. That was a pretty standard sort of game. I mean, one player just got more units than the other player. Now, both of them actually did pick Karam Rek. So we are back on Karam Rek, and it's going to be an exact repeat of last game. Although hopefully, you know, Tyler saw what he did wrong, and hopefully he can adapt, and we'll see a more interesting game. Okay, everybody's here. Tyler needs to select his race. So positions are 1 and 2. I will team up with Sanjo again as an observer. And let's get the show on the road. Alright, second game. It is impossibly late in the day for me now. I've been playing Homeworld for probably about 6 hours now. And it's starting to take its toll. I'm starting to see, you know, like the tactical overlay. I'm starting to see it when I close my eyes. It's getting worrying. And we are in game 2. So the players need no introduction at this point. We've got Sanjo over here, and her opponent over here. Sanjo is actually experiencing some lag here. Or is this me? Let's check. Let's check. Make sure my connection's fine. Yes, it is. Oh. So, am I going to count that as Tyler of Roma's win? Probably not. As the TO, I mean, I have complete power over this tournament. And, you know, since I was actually present during that, I can clearly see that that was not a win for Tyler. Rules like that are just to catch people trying to cheat without, you know, TO supervision. Okay, so rematching here. Alright, let's make sure all the observers are actually sitting in the spectator slots. Okay, everyone's ready. Tyler with the Kushan, Sanjo with the Taidan, slots 2-1, everybody's observers. Perfect. Okay, let's get game 2 underway. Hopefully no one crashes this time. Whoa, blimey. Okay, so we make it into the game. Spectators will scuttle, although it doesn't matter, they're way up here.
Destroy enemy motherships.
Okay, so Sanjo in the yellow playing the Taidan with a nice black and purple ships. And over here we've got Tyler Roma in the default colors with the Kushan. Now hopefully we can see some adaptation from Tyler. Although I'm kind of seeing the same thing that he was doing last game, you know. He's kind of obviously in the build menu, clicking around a bit slowly. So his collectors start moving a bit slow. And it's almost identical, like this timing of like not selecting and then sending them off was pretty much identical. He needs to get his mothership in motion though. I wonder where he's going to send his carrier this time. Looks like he might actually try to take the center position, which is honestly fairly meta for Karamrek. This is quite an old map, it's been around for a long time. And ever since the dawn of time, you know, people have been taking center position in Karamrek. Tyler sending a scout out now, just to see what his opponent's up to. We're seeing a research ship from Banjo, and a research ship from Tyler at the same time, 1 minute 20 seconds. Very interesting. I really love the model for the Taidan carrier in Remastered. It's just incredible. Look at this. Look at this part. Look at this part. Look inside there. Look through the part there. Look at the side. Look at the underneath. Ah, amazing. Sanjo actually sees her opponent is taking the center. Does she see this? Yeah, she must have seen it with the probe. I was worried that this was a spectator then. So the probe sees that Tyler's actually taking center position, and Sanjo is not actually willing to contest him here. Actually just defects over to the side here. Tyler now with the fighter facility. Do we see interceptors already? Yes, we do. All of these are still scouts from Banjo. We're not seeing any technology from Banjo yet. Might have to watch out, you know, if a large enough number of interceptors get built up, it's actually extremely difficult to come back into the game. So Sanjo actually has a couple more collectors, I think. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whereas for Tyler, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Although one was just built right now. What is this? A resource controller. You don't really want this unless you're planning to get 3 patches. There's no real reason to get a controller. Unless Sandra's planning to move her flagship to the center. Just minor scuffles happening here with the strike, completely inconsequential. Tyler finally realizing his mothership was not with the patch, moving that into the position now. Bit of idle time on this collector, but immediately gets snagged up and put on the patch. So I'm wondering what Sandra's plan is here. Is she planning to move over here to this patch and try and take this as well? The problem with this is the center position can strike from any angle. You know, it's equidistant to all these patches. Whereas, you know, if you're getting attacked over here and you're over here, that's a long distance. Your opponent's going to beat you to it. Gaza late with the lag switch, probably going to kick in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, kicked. You know, I don't want to kick people spectating these games, but yeah, we can't have lag for the players. You know, they're the top priority here. Okay, so Tyler of Roma now with a bit of an intercepted ball, although he wants to avoid the flagship for sure. So we do see interceptors from Banjo, whereas Tyler's now already got the Corvette technology. I feel like this could be a reverse situation of what we saw last game. You know, one player takes the middle with although, to be honest, last game it was Tyler who got the Corvettes faster in that game as well. However, I don't think he made use of them very well, because when Sanjo was still on interceptors, he had his Corvettes, but he wasn't pushing with them. Maybe this time it will be different though, because he's already started pushing way before he even got the Corvettes. So, and yeah, we are seeing Sanjo try and play very greedy, trying to grab this patch. I really just don't feel like it's going to work out. Assuming her opponent punishes her for this, he may just continue to push over here and just ignore this patch completely. Corvettes from both players now. So the first player to get to heavy Corvettes is obviously going to be in the lead. Alternatively, you can just skip the vets entirely and try to get assault frigates with gravity wells. I feel like with this low amount of fighters on the field, it's worth docking weak fighters for Homeworld 1. Light Corvettes having a bit of a scuffle here. Obviously they really don't do much damage to each other. Really just a wet noodle fight. Neither of them able to break through the health pool of the other. Look at this, just tanking hits for days, to be honest. Any player with the heavy Corvettes. Not right now, but there we go. This is really good. Sanjo already with the frigate technology. I assume that Tyler is actually going for the heavy Corvette route, whereas Sanjo will be going for the assault frigates. Hopefully 2 of those are in construction at the moment. I'd love to see a support frigate. Didn't see any repair Corvettes or support frigates last game. I imagine it'll be the same this game, but it would be nice to see one, just because the survivability increase is enormous. Excuse me. It's It's been a long day. Played a lot of Homeworld Remastered today. So in about 30 seconds I expect to see some assault frigates on the field. Maybe less, it really depends when she started them. As for Tyler, still on that Corvette technology, making more and more interceptors, which is a viable way to win the game, but only really if you have control over the situation with Corvettes. A salvage Corvette? Nice. Sanjo warning him. Hey buddy, I do see those salvets. That said though, I mean, she only really has light Corvettes. And, you know, light Corvettes really, I mean, first off, they can barely hit their target. Secondly, they really don't do much damage per hit to Corvettes. Tyler expecting Homeworld 1 Classic behavior. But even in Homeworld 1 Classic, the salvage Corvettes really could not grab a moving Corvette. So here we are a minute later from when I made my prediction of assault frigates, and I'm still seeing more and more Corvettes from Sanjo, rather than those 2 assault frigates that I think would have been lovely to have right now. This salvage Corvette's definitely going to go down. There it goes. The other one's going to rapidly follow suit. Trying to capture this collector that was docked with the drop-off, so it couldn't actually be captured. Now this could potentially be very annoying for Sanjo, and I'm expecting her not to realize this, but this collector is idle. The salver has been knocked off, and it can move around if it wants to now, but it's not going to. It's just going to sit there. So Sanjo with the assault frigates on the field now. And unfortunately, I'm not seeing a single heavy Corvette from... Oh, okay, we've got 2 over here, but only 2 just now. I feel like this is really a bit too late. If your opponent's got an equal amount of assault frigates as heavy Corvettes, then you're in a bad position. Although there is not an assault frigate coming out over here, it is just a 1. Hopefully, we see that these Corvettes actually attack this resource patch. I think that would be a great idea. So, Tyler now also getting that frigate facility. Bit of lag coming out of Roby here. Not too much, should be stable in a second. Yep. So Tyler, I think this is a good idea. You know, I can't really take this fight, and neither of us are going to win this fight anytime soon. I might as well do something more useful with my time. And that useful thing is you know, killing these collectors, because as I said just now, you know, light Corvettes really can't kill light Corvettes very quickly. They especially can't kill heavy Corvettes. I mean, this thing, well, it's tying to the assault frigate, but I mean, you can see all this fire coming in from the light Corvettes. It's just completely ineffectual. So this is a really good idea. You know, all of these Corvettes, they can just start sniping collectors. If you can kill enough collectors, you know, you can, you know, Sanjo's not really ready to push you right now. If you can get an econ lead, you can just turtle up here and then push back. The collectors do need to be targeted correctly though, and you don't really want to be targeting the resource controller. We'll see how Sanjo handles this. Currently sending all of these light Corvettes. How many heavy Corvettes do we have here? Quite a few. So, if with enough heavy Corvettes, this controller will go down. I would have loved to see targeting on the collectors instead though. So the assault frigate count is up to 2. 3 with this one over here. Which means any Corvettes that are straggling over here are going to get cleaned up in short order. Blammo. Just a whole bunch of Corvette scuffles in these 2 games. Tyler probably doesn't realize that the heavy Corvettes have a burst ability. The heavy Corvettes actually need to be using that ability to get the most DPS, and Sanjo accidentally, I presume, docking all of these light Corvettes with the refinery. Gets out of there sharpish. I think this controller is actually going to go down, yeah. The assault frigate's coming in to try and save it now, but it's going to be too little too late. I think this is annoying, but honestly, a controller is easily replaceable. And Sanjo is once again actually on, you know, she's ahead on economy. With the long distance mining like this, I'd say she's about even. So the assault frigates from Sanjo now, piling on a lot of damage. Whoa. Yeah, these corvettes, once again going for the eco, which is a good idea. It's a really good way to spend your time. However, I don't think they're probably going to get any more collectors here, because there are now 5 assault frigates shooting at them. 6, sorry. Didn't see this one. Gonna have to kick Roby if he keeps lagging. No, he's fine. Okay, so while this is all happening, you know, these collectors are trying to get, you know, taken down, but I don't think it's going to happen. Over here we've got a big corvette ball from Sanjo. This is all the light corvettes she made earlier. I don't think there's any heavy corvettes in here. I think it's all light corvettes. Yes. They meet a ball of defenders. I was wondering why they were so slow, and they just absolutely ruined them. And, you know, while Tyler is trying to pressure this location, it seems like Sanjo, you know, having this central location is very good because it lets you strike here, here, and here.
This is a cakewalk.
And that is exactly what we saw, you know. Stuff from here just went over here and killed it. However, Sanjo now actually relocating in a way, sort of swinging around the map and trying to push into this location. Defenders do not have a great matchup against light corvettes. Light corvettes really just ruin fighters in general. I'd like to see Sanjo focus a little bit here though. Instead of attacking all of these trickling out units, just grab your things and just go kill collectors. Potential to see iron cannons hit the field for probably Sanjo very soon. Could just be more and more assault frigates, which would actually be a much better choice because the iron frigates obviously do not have a great matchup against any unit that is on the field for Tyler right now. This resource controller needs to be relocated. So all of these attacks from Tyler just getting sort of chewed up by this big ball of assault frigates that's accrued here. One of these assault frigates is kind of beat up. See, with the support frigate, be a lot better. And with these, another 2 assault frigates. This is honestly enough assault frigates to start beating whatever you want to make here. If you start trickling iron cannons against this amount of assault frigates, it's going to be too much. Sanjo now actually heeding what I was saying, and just trying to focus down whatever she can. Although this is definitely the worst choice you could have made. Light corvettes really do not have any damage output against armored targets, which the research ship definitely is. She probably could have killed every single collector that is over here. And there's honestly not much point in going for the research ship. In this matchup on such a small map, you really don't need anything bigger than assault frigates. Meanwhile, Sanjo on this side, so she's attacking here. She's probably going to get this research ship and then focus the collectors. Whereas over on this side, you know, we see these assault frigates pushing in now. Trying to kill as many collectors as possible. With bad focus though, you really want to be focusing the collectors that are out on the field rather than the ones that are docked with the RU drop off. You know, instead of interceptors, why not bombers? You know, bombers would obviously be doing a lot more damage. There are 1 or 2 on the field, but imagine if every single one of these is a bomber. So Sanjo gets the research ship, I think, yes, and decides to hightail it out of there. Not going to go for any collector sniping, which is fair enough. I mean, you want to prevent your opponent from capitalizing on any holes you have in your technology. And as you can see over here, you know, the assault frigates can't really hit fighters very well. But those light corvettes could swing around and actually deal with all of these fighters for the assault frigates. One of the assaults does go down. I think that might have been the second assault that went down, but there's so many on the field at this point. Rogue assault frigate heading off in this direction, and we do actually see these iron cannon frigates just sitting idly back here. Would love to see them just move in and start applying a ton of pressure, especially because Tyler actually does have his own assault frigates now, and you know, Sanjo does have to be somewhat careful. You don't want to lose all these assault frigates because this is actually all of your army, really. You really want to kite backwards at this point. Kite backwards, bring your iron cannons in, bring your forces back together, because you've done great damage to Tyler's carrier. His forward patch has been just destroyed. He has no more technology in the pocket. So the worst thing you can do here is to lose your army for no reason. Quite a number of attack bombers on the field here. Hopefully Sanjo realizes that she needs quite a few interceptors now, or perhaps more light corvettes, or even multi-guns. Of course multi-guns do even better than light corvettes against fighters. So the double iron frigates now, really sort of providing a backbone for Sanjo here. Without these iron frigates, you know, she would still definitely take the fight, but it would be less clean, I think. And okay, that is the end of the game. A missile destroyer hits the field from Sanjo. I wondered what she was doing with all of her economy. I thought perhaps she was just floating, but she is not floating. She was researching. A missile destroyer hits the field, and that is going to be the game. Every single strike craft that's on the field now for Tyler is just going to get absolutely massacred. You know, I do like the idea of bombers for Tyler, however it was kind of too little too late. Bombers have pretty bad accuracy actually against frigates. So all of these ends are just going to get cleared up. And Tyler now, that army that was pushing in and potentially posing a threat, just got chewed up by these iron cannons. And now Tyler, once again, it's like a repeat of last game. He has nothing back at home. Whereas Banjo is just overwhelming him. And as you can see, well, as soon as this missile destroyer hit the field, it was just boom. Every single thing that was on the field that was not a frigate has disappeared for Tyler. And obviously the frigates are now dying to the massive assault frigates that Banjo still has. That's 9 assault frigates, which is, yeah, it's a lot of DPS. Sorry, 10 assault frigates with this one. 11 assault frigates. 13 assault frigates. Now some people might be wondering, you know, are there any significant differences between the Homeworld 1 races in terms of their mirror units? So like, is a Taidan light corvette better than a Kushan light corvette? The answer is, if there are differences, they're so minuscule that nobody's ever noticed them. That was actually kind of true in Classic as well. I feel like the multi-guns were a bit different in Classic, but in Remastered it really is, the races are identical except for their unique units. Which is another thing I would have liked to see Sanjo make, is field frigates. Because Tyler, obviously, he was very heavy on the corvettes, very heavy on the assault frigates. I don't think I actually saw him make a single iron cannon frigate, so a field frigate would have just absolutely dominated this game. The carrier now just getting hammered down by these assault frigates. And down it goes. Rest in pieces. Whoa. So the carrier's gone down, and that is pretty much all she wrote for Tyler, because he hasn't replaced his research ship. He obviously doesn't have any capital class technology. We don't see that module on his mothership. The light corvettes are just going to roll in here and massacre all of these fighters, and I think Tyler realizes it. He says, "Here we go." Very, very impressive stuff from Banjo. Made all the correct units. Perhaps one of the only bad calls she made was not realizing her controller was being killed. I also didn't really enjoy this idea of spreading to 3 patches in a semicircle like this. I feel like it makes this central position very strong, but also clearly floating quite a lot of money to be able to hyperspace this many frigates. Just gotta sneeze. Whoa. Oh boy, spring does not agree with me. The mothership now under fire. I wonder if Sandro is using the Missile Destroyer burst ability. I don't see it. Actually, this Missile Destroyer is just in a sort of move command right now. The light corvettes just sharking around, doing whatever the hell they want, and a scuttle comes out, and actually, yeah, she is using the missile burst. That's really good. I also saw she was using the heavy corvette burst in the previous game, whereas Tyler was not using any of the abilities of his ships. Tyler goes down, and a glorious flash of light, and oh my goodness! Every single one of those assault frigates went down as a destroyer suddenly appears on the field and says, "Hey, what the hell? Why have I just warped in here and I've lost 10% of my health?" Really solid performances from Sanjo. The power of a stronger economy was at play here. I will also say though that usage of abilities played a big factor, and the superior technology of assault frigates was very important. I feel like if you're going to stick with corvettes like that, you really need to do a lot of economic damage. But yeah, GG's from both players. Both players are improving immensely fast. You've got to keep in mind, both of these are really new players. Probably less than 2 weeks for both of them. So really stunning improvements from both of them. I'll really look forward to more of their games. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. GG's.